Today, we're looking at Krishna Causal. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Krishna's Causal is a part of their specialty line of inks, and it's a blue ink. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a Delike Alpha with a medium nib to take my notes for this video. But before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. Up first is the chromatography, and I agree with Vita that doing multiple chromatographies has taught me a lot. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately dunk it in water for 10 to 15 seconds. We see that a very, very light blue, almost imperceptible, is moving up the page. It then gets darker, and then it's just a light blue all the way up with a very faint dark blue line at the top where the ink stops. The one on the right I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water, and it looks essentially the same, which means I expect absolutely no kind of resistance from this ink. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it is to clean from your pens. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, we see that this ink reactivates and starts to become blurry to read. I would not use this as a note taker. Strangely, water, while it reactivated and pulled a lot of this ink up off the page, didn't seem to be removing it as much as would be expected. I expected much more of it to go away. Pen flush reactivated it, started pulling a lot more off the page. I'm hoping pen flush is all it would really take to take it from your pens a majority of the time. We see that if you see that kind of darker line through the flush circle, that's where the paper started coming apart, and it was only 30 seconds. It was really strange. Bleach completely obliterated it, taking it completely off the paper, leaving a white circle. I'm hoping to never need to use the bleach for this one, and that pen flush is all it would take. For the inks I've tested, I've found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Krishna's Causal has a viscosity of 2.25, making it normal. To find my average dry times, I use the writing samples done with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds. With the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Krishna's Causal has an average dry time of 14 seconds, making it normal on the faster side of normal, but still normal. Now, let's look at the writing sample. So I got this ink in bottle form back when I ordered about 30 plus bottles from India, and then it became a craze and everybody had to have it, and I think some of these are great. And this is nice. To keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's look at Clairefontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, but definite shading throughout. Krishna is a different tone than Causal, so that's nice. The extra fine has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, and subtle shading throughout. If we look at the word quick, it's nice and dark, gets lighter, gets darker again. This is nice. This is not a crazy screaming blue, but this is a very nice presentation for blue. This is very nice. This is the word I use when I describe it. This is not obnoxious. 9 seconds to dry. Medium gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. That smear spot's entirely me. Not a lot of color variation with the medium. So that wetter nib, not as much. The scrubbies on the extra fine, we do see color variation when we look at the far left to far right, which we do get in the writing sample. The medium, no color variation at all. And the smear says, I'm not sure if I could recover this. I'm not sure. The extra fine looks like I could. The medium looks like I probably couldn't. Tomoe River. No bleeding. We have ghosting. We have Tomoe River. The 1.1 gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, and we lost the shading for the paper, making it take so long to dry. The extra fine gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 14 seconds to dry. Same tone that I get with the 1.1. When I go to the medium, I get a darker tone for sure. This medium gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 20 seconds to dry. And looking at the scrubby, we see that we're not expecting to get any color variation on this particular ink. The smear says, since you wrote on Tomoe River, you can't recover it. Rhodia paper gives us no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, little bits of color variation, not tons, but little bits of color variation, which are nice. The 11 seconds to dry. The medium gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. No real shade on this paper. 16 seconds to dry. Now the thing is, I'm definitely with a Delike Alpha and a medium nib, I'm definitely seeing color variation here that I wasn't seeing here. So I see a lot more color variation on my notes than I do on my writing sample. But for what it's worth, it's not here. Extra fine and medium scrubby show us not a lot of color variation. The smear says we can likely recover it. So I went and I wanted to look at this on yellow, see what kind of tone changes we get. And it's neat because this is a very nice blue, but because it's a light blue, we have the opportunity to kind of cause some different colors. So very neat. With the yellow background, as you expect, yellow and blue makes green, but it's like an aqua green or an aqua blue. It's that neat turquoise color. It's very nice on yellow paper. The yellow gives us no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 gives no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. Some shading. Little bit. The yellow definitely helps some things stand out. The extra fine gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, but we do get some minor color variation. It goes on in the word quick, in the word brown, in the word the. So where we weren't getting color variation with the white paper, we do get some of it with the yellow paper when this looks more turquoise. 11 seconds to dry. Medium, definitely a darker tone. We see much more color variation in this ink for it having toned paper. It has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade with it being a wetter pen. 16 seconds to dry, the extra fine and the medium. The extra fine, in far left to far right, we're getting color variation. It's just that it's so gradual and it's changed all the way across. As a whole, it's hard to see. You have to look at the extremes. It's definitely there, and we saw it in the writing sample. The medium shows us no color variation, and the smear says the extra fine you could probably recover. The medium, I'm not sure if you could. So I decided to test this on Hazel paper, and Hazel paper is a notebook that I got when I ordered these inks. Oh, dropped the notebook. Sorry for the loud noise. The Hazel paper comes like this. I say if you order from them, which the bottles are way cheaper when you order from them. The bottle turned to be, less than $3 a bottle when I ordered them. My shipping practically equaled my purchase to get them from India. So that's why I added some things in, and I ordered every ink they had at that time. But this was nice. It performs very well, especially with their paper. The only spot that I have any bleeding is in the scrubby, which is going on stupid thick. So as a pocket notebook, this is very nice. The 1.1 gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no real shading. The extra fine gives us no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 5 seconds to dry. And the medium gives still no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, and 7 seconds to dry. So we get color variation based on the pen and the flow of that pen, but not in the writing sample itself, but we get nice fast dry times. So in a pocket notebook, this is perfectly good to be able to jot some notes down. Now, if you ordered a whole bunch of ink from them online, and you order some of these notebooks, it's very worth it. I don't know if just ordering the notebooks themselves is worth it, but if you order it with everything else and you're willing to wait the month to 2 months to get it, this is not bad. This paper, to me, has performed well with almost every ink. So it's fantastic. It just takes forever to get. I do wish I could get it in larger notebooks and not with the hardback that is there. But you take what you can get sometimes, and this is nice paper. The extra fine and the medium scrubby show us no color variation, and the smear test says we could recover it if we smeared it. Doesn't look it on camera, but in person, see if, okay, I can see those lines very faintly. I can definitely see them a little better in person. And with the medium, same story. I definitely, come on, camera, focus, there we go, right spot. I can definitely see it a little better in person than I do on camera. Refocus. Fantastic. So I decided to test this with French P-Burger paper. French rule, it definitely bleeds a lot. It doesn't touch the page underneath. Since this is really a school paper for practicing handwriting and things like that, probably not the end of the world, but you don't get to use the back side. Looking at the 1.1, we definitely have feathering, we definitely have spread, we have no halo, no sheen, no shade. The extra fine gives us definite small feathering, really small, not a problem for the writing. Truly not a problem, but there is small feathering all over it. There is some spread. It moved from an extra fine up to about a fine. We have no halo, no sheen, and no shade, 5 seconds to dry. The medium definitely moved from a medium up to a broad. It definitely spread. It definitely feathers like crazy all over it. It makes it look even thicker on camera. It has no halo, no sheen, and no shade. 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both the extra fine and the medium show us that you don't get any color variation, and the smear show us that you might be able to recover it. I'm going to call these recoverable on this paper. As you know, I would just try and, in the future, I would try and use a drier pen. I get a lot of that where I say, because I like color variation, a drier pen might be a good option. But I do also find times where it's the wetter pen that's going to do it. That's all I have for the writing
Instead
sample.
of finding inks that look like Krishna Causal, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I've chosen Private Reserve's Sepia, with it being a very nice brown ink. I think the brown and blue will look good together. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Krishna's Causal? I think it's a beautiful blue that's toned down. It's not loud and obnoxious. I do wish that it came in larger bottles. I hope that Krishna gets to larger bottles because they can be a little more difficult to fill larger nib pens with. I think this is an ink absolutely worth trying. It's worth the inconvenience to get it from overseas, and I think it's worth the expense of getting it here in the States. Thanks for watching.